Hi, thank you for joining me. In this video, I'm going to talk about my difference and the reason behind my mental health issues. I've talked before about the importance of acknowledging and accepting differences in people. The reason I feel so strongly about that is because I am different. I am an Aspie. That means I have Asperger's syndrome. Asperger's is a part of the autistic spectrum. So if you have Asperger's, you're autistic. Now they usually use the term autistic spectrum disorder as a kind of universal term because it's more inclusive of the different types of autism. One difference is that people with Asperger's don't tend to have delays in language. I didn't. I have a different way of thinking. I'm not exactly traditional. I'm one of those people who society would class as unusual, off-centre, left of the middle. I don't see that as a bad thing. I'm okay with it. Recently, I went to see the film Bohemian Rhapsody, which is about the story of the British rock band Queen, from when they started in the early 70s up until their performance at Live Aid in 1985. It's a great film and a very interesting story. It was very sad and shocked the world when the singer Freddie Mercury died of AIDS in 1991. But one thing you can say about Freddie Mercury is that he was a visionary. He believed in achieving great things, and he did. The film intentionally highlighted what he should be remembered for, which is being a great musician, not just an AIDS patient. He says in the film, "We are four misfits who don't belong, playing for other misfits who don't belong. We belong to them." There is another great line in the film, "Fortune favours the bold." There is definitely some truth in that. If you can forget about what other people think, be who you are and do what you love, you can go on an incredible journey. When you're in a minority, you often experience difficulties, especially when you're growing up, because it can be hard to be accepted. You can face discrimination and feel quite isolated because you're set apart from the majority. It's not an easy ride, but it definitely enriches your mind because you're forced to think and question everything. When I was young, I really struggled to make connections with people and build relationships. I had ongoing anxiety and I didn't know why, so I had no choice but to look at myself because the things I was doing were not working. I was missing something that other people had. Now, I actually feel quite privileged to be an Aspie because despite the difficulties, there are a lot of benefits. When you have Asperger's, things that to other people may be slightly annoying or unpleasant can be deeply distressing. It's hard to tolerate discomfort. Feeling okay does not come naturally. It's something you have to work at. When you experience discomfort, you can feel quite freaked out. Grief, loss, and emotional distress are hard for anyone to deal with. But when you have Asperger's, it's even harder because the world feels scary already. So when there's something unpleasant and uncomfortable on top of that, it gets very difficult. It's very hard to tolerate emotional distress. Sometimes you will do something extreme to try and get rid of it. This is why autistic people are at higher risk of suicide. A lot of autistic people are treated for mental health problems long before they're diagnosed with autism. There is a common belief that autistic people are childlike, which in one way is sort of true, because we have quite literal meaning. I think that's why sometimes people think that autistic people are cute. Your thinking can be quite black and white, quite rigid. If someone says to you, "Come round to my house at 4:30, that means be there at that time, give or take 5 minutes. Whereas to someone else, it might mean be there somewhere near that time. That's just how you understand the words. And because you generally say what you mean, you think other people do as well. It may not seem like it, but there is so much going on in your head. As an Aspie, you need calmness, you need order. Being in an environment that is crowded, noisy, chaotic and fast can make you feel very stressed, and it drains you of energy. You get fixated on interests and ideas. It can become quite obsessive. It helps to have a routine. You have a need to plan ahead because you need to know what you're doing, how and when. So what are the benefits of being Asperger's? People with Asperger's are often mentally ahead of their years. Childhood is often tough when you're autistic, but the advantage of that is that you don't miss it so much. Some people long to go back to childhood, that nostalgic yearning to go back to those days. I've just never had that. When you've experienced being different, it makes you more open-minded and accepting. You don't get hung up on who or what people are, and it gives you a wider vision. You see so much more than what's right in front of you. Because the Aspie mind is very analytical, your problem solving, it's so quick. Your brain just scans all the information and says, this is what you need to do and how to do it. You can think your way around almost anything. You can make things happen. Generally, you're quite independent, so you can do things by yourself more easily because you're not so concerned with being like everyone else and what other people think. You have more freedom. You can just be yourself and do what makes you happy. And if you want to have a laugh, you can just go into your own head. I've got used to the fact that I am mostly a solo traveller. Yes, it is lonely sometimes, but there is a consolation. When you're part of a minority group, you're part of a subculture. It's like you have a ticket to a secret underground party that not many people get to go to. So do I wish I was more like other people? No. I think that a lot of the things I've done are because of being Asperger's. This is who I am. This is a part of my identity. I can't imagine being any other way. You don't need everyone to accept you. You just need a few good people in your life who just see you for the unique person that you are. Most of the people who hate and discriminate against anyone who's a bit different are boring anyway. Anyone who tries to tell me that I'm inadequate or unacceptable, I have two words for them. It starts and ends with F. If the usual path of life doesn't do it for you, you have to take another one. Society looks upon being different as something bad. It's not. Being different is great. So love your differences. Use them to your advantage. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for watching. See you next time.